Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very fun idea. Today we're going to be attacking the English opening. That's right, pawn to c4 first move, a very solid opening. Have you been having problems against it? I know you have. It's a very solid opening, which a lot of strong players will use. I'm going to go over the basic plan of it, and well, my plan of how I like to attack against the English. This plan works 100%. This plan works 100% of the time, 50% of the time. Okay, so just think about that stat real quick. With that being said, let's get to it, guys. All right, here we go. White starts off with c4, obviously. Here we go, pawn to e5, and here is already a fun move. I mean, there's many different ways to play against the English. e5 is one of my favorites. I love to play Sicilian, so this is already becoming a reverse Sicilian, if you will. And here, white continues with g3. G3 is one of the moves. Knight c3 is another one. And here we're going to go and continue with knight c6. And here, white plays knight c3. And now I have the move I want to play against. After knight c3, we're going to be playing what's called a reversed Grand Prix attack. That's right. The same idea as white whenever you do a Grand Prix attack, we're going to be playing it from the black perspective. And here in these lines, I like to play my bishop to b4. Here what I want to do is trade off the bishop for the knight and give him double pawns. It's really amazing to me that many of these English players do not realize it's best not to allow this to happen and play something like knight to d5. So I'll go over in another game whenever they actually allow me to take. In this game, white played the best move of knight to d5. Again, it's not the best thing for white to allow them to trade. Oh, by the way, typically the plan in the reverse Grand Prix, or let's just say the Grand Prix, is black is going to go for the kingside attack, while white, like in many fianchettos, is going to go queenside and try to open up the center, or maybe even keep it closed depending on the position. With that being said, in this game, because we're going for kingside attack as black, white should try to open up the center. And here I played a very standard move. I went ahead and played pawn to a5. This move does quite a few different things, but one of the main things it's doing is going to be defending the bishop, and if they do take, we can take back with our a pawn. You know, if you just play something like, I don't know, let's say d6, which is a decent move, the best move for white is actually not to take, but to gain space on the queen side. So they can play something like a3, bishop c5, b4, and here you see white got a lot of free moves out of this. So that's why in the game I play pawn to a5. This is going to stop the a3 b4 plan, and of course if they take, we can actually take back with the pawn. And well, in this game I got lucky. They went ahead and took. And here I went ahead and played a takes b4. Now, typically, it's not a good idea to give yourself double pawns, but this is actually a good move because now we've opened up our rook and actually made this a backwards pawn of the a pawn. And for the rest of the game, I've actually got a little bit of attacking chances, or at least pressure against the queen side. Let's continue. Here, white continues bishop to g2. Knight to e7, also a very nice key move here as black. A lot of people here will play knight to f6, but this is not the best. Why? Well, remember, whenever you play the Grand Prix, we want to play pawn to f5. So if you play your knight to f6, you're only getting in your own way. And the basic setup is going to be knight to e7, either d6, d5, depending on what they play, bishop e6, queen to d7, and we'll go for a kingside attack. We're going to try and trade off our light square bishop against this light square bishop. So, white continue with knight f3. Pawn to d6 here, a nice solid move. White went ahead and castled, and here we go ahead and castle too. Now white does play the best move here. It's white to move. What do you think white's best move is here? Hopefully you push pause or tried to figure it out. The best move here for white is to play, well, if you think about this strategically, you want to bring your bishop out. So you're thinking about either moving the pawn to d3 or d4. Now, we talked about this already. If black is trying to kingside attack you, should white try to keep the center closed and play pawn to d3, or open up the center and play pawn to d4? Of course, white should go ahead and play d4. And d4 is going to be one of the best moves because if your opponent's attacking you on the wing, like we are attacking on the king wing, then we should try to open up the center because this is going to stop my counterplay. Of course, I don't like this as much, and I'll try to keep this as close as possible. Here I went ahead and played pawn to e4. Again, the computer doesn't like this as much, but this goes along with the principle. I want to keep it close so that I can go kingside attack. Here the knight went back to e1. And here we go, pawn to f5, a move I've been wanting to play. Remember, one of the main ideas of the Grand Prix is to use the f-pawn as an attacking piece. And here, the farther the pawn moves forward, well, the stronger my rook gets. The game is definitely getting very complicated or imbalanced, but this is exactly what I want. To create winning chances, you must create an imbalance in the position. All right, here we go. White went ahead and played pawn b3. A reasonable looking move here. It's going to stop the pawn from going forward in some variations and also lets the bishop out into the game. And, well, it is a decent pawn structure over here. But, again, with this pawn on b4, it really does make this a2 pawn a very weak pawn. All right, here I went ahead and played pawn to d5. Notice how I'm getting my light squares very strong here. They're more than welcome to play c5 if they want to. Here, I want to get my bishop out into the game, and, well, if they're nice to me and take, well, I can take back with my knight. And here, well, sometimes dreams come true. C takes on d5. Thank you very much. Knight takes on d5. My knight becomes active. And here you can see that the knight actually gets two great squares for him. Here, the knight is definitely controlling this f4 square and even a very good square of c3. The d4 pawn is also looking a little bit weak here, too. Well, white played what I thought they played. They played bishop to b2, now putting the bishop on the long diagonal, also defending the d4 pawn. But now this allows me to continue with my attacking idea. Here there are quite a few good moves here, but I always like to bring out my pieces and make sure everything's protected, so I play queen e8. Now this is a very standard idea to attack. What's the idea? I'm either going to go queen g6 or queen to h5, depending on what's happening. And the other reason why I wanted to bring the queen to e8 was to defend the e4 pawn. And you're saying, well, the bishop was attacking, but the pawn's defending. I'm going to be pairing to try and play pawn f4 if I can. Here my opponent missed the idea and played knight to c2, and here I get a great move. Oh, don't forget, if you haven't already, give us a like and subscribe. Remember, the like's going to help spread this to other chess players. All right, back to the game. What do you play for your exclam move? Shall we go e3? Shall we play f4? Which one is it? Of course, I already gave you the move. It's pawn to f4, and this becomes a very strong attacking idea. At this point, I guess my opponent, my 2657 opponent, I don't know, just could not handle all this pressure and ends up making a mistake very fast here, and I was able to checkmate. Here, he went ahead and made the mistake of G takes on f4 here. I mean, there's definitely ideas like pawn to f3 being threatened, bishop g4 is an idea, queen to h5, even rook lifts. Again, black is just much better in this position already, but you know, the moves he made definitely did not help out. He took. How do we take back? Of course, with the knight. Knight takes is going to threaten to take on g2 in a lot of these variations, and as the bishop is one of the main defenders for the king, why wouldn't you do this? Here, king h1 gets played. This is a good move, but it's a little too slow here. The idea is that we can white wants to play his rook to g1 so they can defend, but also the rook is going to be opened up against this king. Here, things work out perfectly. Let's go ahead and attack. Knight takes on g2. King takes on g2. And now let's bring that queen and rook into the game. Queen to h5 coming with a very nice threat. Do you see it? Here we have bishop to h5, bishop to h3 check, winning the rook. And here my opponent went ahead and played queen to d2. Not the right idea. Black to move. Let's bring in some reinforcements. What do we play here? All right, here we go. We get to play rook to f6. Bishop h3 is okay. The problem with bishop h3 check is if you play that one, the king is just going to naturally go back to h1. Now, is black winning here? Of course he is. But they're going to be able to defend on h2 pretty easily here. As in the game, well, my opponent was able to make a mistake real fast. Besides, I can win the exchange or win some material here if I want to. Even stronger, let's go for the king. So here I went ahead and played rook to f6. And here, my opponent made the mistake of d5. It looks like it's a double attack, but it truly is not. Here, I have rook g6 check or rook to h6. Which one is better? Here, of course, we're going to go ahead and play rook to h6. This is a good move because this is threatening checkmate. Notice if you had played rook to g6, it's an okay move. But after king h1, well, I guess now you can try to play rook to h6. Again, you can see how it's just kind of wasting time here. And after the move of rook to h6, my opponent blundered pretty fast here. He went ahead and played rook h1. And here, well, it's checkmate in two moves. It's black to move. Do you see it? Here after rook to h1, we have a simple checkmate over here. Queen to h3 check. The idea is to stop this king from going to f1 over here to escape. Here the king is forced back. Oh, and I was mistaken. It's actually checkmate in 3. After rook to g6 check, here the queen must block. And after rook takes g5, then it is check and mate. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this idea in the game. What was the idea? Here, we're against the English. We're going to play what's called the reverse Sicilian or the Grand Prix attack. We play e5, knight c6, bishop b4, hoping to trade it off. And another key idea, remember to move your knight to e7 in this line so you can play pawn f5 so you can try to go for that kingside attack. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.